For example 1, we're going to be performing the following operations on our functions f and g. A is asking us to add our f and g function together. F plus g of x means take f of x and add it to g of x. My f of x function is x plus 1, and I'm going to add it to g of x, which is the square root of x plus 3. And there's nothing to distribute, there's nothing to combine. It's as simplified as it can get, and that is the answer. Okay, the next problem, B, is saying to not only add your functions together, but also sub in a 6. So expand it out. That looks like f of 6 plus g of 6. And my function f with a 6 subbed in is 6 plus 1. My function g with a 6 substituted in is the square root of 6 plus 3. And then we do have to clean this up. 6 plus 1 is 7. And then the square root of 6 plus 3 is the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. And we just add 7 and 3 to get 10, and that answer is done. Okay, the next problem is C, and that is saying find f of negative 4 plus g of negative 4. Okay, my function f of x with a negative 4 subbed in looks like negative 4 plus 1. G with a negative 4 subbed in is a square root of negative 4 plus 3. And I get negative 3 plus the square root of negative 1. And the square root of negative 1 is not a real number. And so the answer to this problem is going to be does not exist, because we're looking for real answers only, real number answers only. And you can abbreviate does not exist with a D and E if you like. Okay, next in D we have f of negative 3 divided by g of negative 3. And you're going to make sure that when you do the division that you use a fraction bar for that. And then f of negative 3 is negative 3 plus 1. G of negative 3 is the square root of negative 3 plus 3. And then you get on top negative 2. On the bottom of the fraction, the square root of 0. And the square root of 0 is 0. And you can see that we have a 0 in our denominator, and that is an undefined answer, so we're just going to write undefined. I'm out of space, so I'm going to write it to the left. All right, so now we have g of negative 3 divided by f of negative 3. So we're just switching those fractions, and you're going to have the square root of negative 3 plus 3 on the top, and on the bottom you are going to have the negative 3 plus 1, and you get the square root of 0 on the top, you get the negative 2 on the bottom. Square root of 0 is 0, and you can have 0 in the numerator. When you calculate 0 divided by anything, you get 0, and that's okay. And then finally we have g times g of 13, which is g of 13 times g of 13. And let's see, g is the square root. 13 plus 3 times the square root of 13 plus 3, which is the square root of 16 times the square root of 16, which is 4 times 4, and that is 16. And you could, if you wanted to, you could have just written square root of 16 squared, which would be 16 if you prefer.